Feel free to call me G3, everyone. I'm a technologist. Like I worked at Microsoft for good 20 years after graduating from grad school. And I was at DocuSign for a couple of years. And my own personal experience of building a home got me quite interested in this domain. While the project got done pretty well, I realized, hey, I have actually a lot of experience in solving some of these problems. Why not, take on this problem for some time and take a crack at it? And that's how I landed in this AEC real estate segment. Um, yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I live in
Okay.
Seattle. So
Yeah.
it's one of those beautiful Pacific Northwest regions. So,
Hmm.
I'm a big hiker as well, and I engage myself in a bunch of outdoor activities too. So it all works out.
Yeah. Gotcha. So I kind of want to maybe go a little bit deeper, right? So, tell us a bit more, like what did you study in school? Like how did that what like where did your interest lie and how did you maybe like get into construction or at
Yeah,
least real
actually,
estate or AEC
yeah.
related?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, like my education was completely in computer science and engineering, both bachelor's and grad school. So
Yeah.
I was specializing in algorithms and optimizations and like databases. And then, I started my career at SQL Server as an engineer in storage
Huh.
engine team, which is one of those quite hardcore teams within the product SQL Server.
Yeah.
But then I switched to working in Bing. At that time, Bing was not even Bing Search. It was what is called, it started as MSN Search, and then we rebranded as Live Search, and then eventually
Well,
it landed as Bing Search. Again, the kind of exposure that I had learning so much of the AI ML technologies and information retrieval, all of that stuff, it was on the job that I literally learned. And it was a wild run in the sense the team was like literally growing like crazy, and we were competing against Google at that time.
right.
So Google anyway is like pretty much a leader. So we had like lots of opportunities to try various experiments to learn what works, what did not work, etc., etc. And then I went to Office 365, which is
Yeah.
again another hardcore, solid business for Microsoft.
Right.
Um, and
Absolutely.
uh, and it was again like, an awesome journey there as well. I was in the original the Office 365 data center team, which was focusing on taking this box product into live. Again, massive growth
Hmm.
there as well. So I just feel very fortunate to be in all of these teams that actually had that spiky growth. And then I landed at Microsoft Search, which was like the search for enterprise products of Microsoft. And the
Hmm.
last product that I was leading there was SharePoint Search. And after that, I decided to move out of Microsoft because I always wanted to do a startup. But then,
Hmm.
I had little kids. My husband was also traveling. I said, like, let me just, invigorate myself with different products within Microsoft. And then when the right time came, I myself was not ready whether I would be successful in a startup journey. So I said, okay, let's go
Right.
to DocuSign, which was not by any means startup, but it was smaller than
Mhm.
Microsoft. But that stint actually gave me so much of confidence in looking at the product cycle end to end, everything, including support, sales, go to market, and all of that stuff. Whereas in Microsoft,
It's a
many
lot.
things were taken care of,
Right.
like because it's a very big company, right? So that gave me the confidence. And as I was
Okay.
telling you, I was also like a hiker.
Yes.
So it was one of those days that, I was at the summit and I said, I have to do this thing now or it's never going to get done.
Uh-huh.
So I said, okay, let's just do it now. So I quit and then, worked
Yeah.
on this startup. And, Doda is actually name of a mountain. So,
Oh, I
yeah.
had no idea. And also just like jumping in for a second here, just reflecting on my own experience with like being in a larger organization and kind of always thinking, well, I wonder if I can maybe do this thing and um, actually seeing that, perspective like, huh, well, if I don't try at some point, I
Yes,
probably will never try. So you kind of
yes,
have to just go for it at some point. So I'm like, wow, like super inspiring. Like I'm totally connecting to that, like hiking to the
yeah.
mountain vision top. Anyway, I also want to just give a quick shout out. We're getting some comments
Oh,
already in the chat. So we have looking forward to fresh AI insights for the construction industry. And a nice comment here. So, two of my favorite people in AEC. What a small world. So, thank you all for joining, for commenting. That chat box is open, so please do use it, as well as the reactions on LinkedIn. We love to see it. So, please ask, questions. Gayathri here has obviously a wealth of knowledge and experience. And we're going to be getting into some dynamic topics, so do use that chat box. But anyway, getting back to the conversation here. So it's actually a name of a mountain.
yes,
Yes.
yes. So the joke is that I won't say a joke, but it's just my thought process. So the thing is, I was looking for like good names from the Pacific Northwest.
Hmm.
All the good ones were taken. I said like oh my God, like all the good ones are taken. So let's just go to India, like so.
Hmm.
Doda is actually name of a mountain called Doda Beta, which is part
Oh,
of the Western Ghats of India. And Doda
hmm.
basically means big. So
Big.
it just means big. So I said like, okay, you know what? I'm coming in here. It's big, audacious goals of like what I wanted to do. Like, there's a lot of fragmented solutions here. Like, let's see what I can do in
Yeah.
here. And that's exactly what really happened. And that's what was going on in my head.
Yeah.
Um,
So, I guess walk us through. So you have this incredible like technical background. You're getting in a little bit more to the startup space. How did you land on, AEC real estate related
yeah.
sectors of the industry to work within?
Yeah, it's a great question, Erin. You're actually taking me back few years. So,
Yeah.
so there were two big domains that were very interesting to me. One was healthcare, and
Hmm.
then the other was construction. See, at the end of it, what I looked at as an abstraction of all of these things is there is data everywhere. And
Yes,
what
everywhere.
sense do you make out of that data? Underlying is actually the tool, the technology that you can use, and applying that knowledge on an industrial problem is what I was very curious about.
Hmm.
And I decided to go with construction mainly because, when it comes to healthcare, there is a lot more HIPAA regulations and so many other things that I was actually just thinking, AEC and then the real estate market might be a little bit easier to like, for my ramp up and things like that. And in both the domains, to be fully honest, like I did not have network. I got to know about like
Yeah,
many of you guys only in the last few years. I mean, and I'm very blessed because my networking has actually expanded like crazy. Until then, my network was purely technologists. Like I know people in many places,
right.
but now I can actually see a lot more people bringing coming all together. But I felt construction was a little bit easier to tackle than healthcare because there
Mm,
is a lot more red tapes and so many more things in the healthcare industry. That's what got me quite
regulation, yeah.
yeah, getting into the AEC world. And it was a journey too as a startup. Like when we
Hmm.
started, we were focusing on looking at flagging code violations in the drawings.
Yes,
um,
very
uh,
important.
yeah, to speed up permit processing. But
Right.
as we were conducting like lots of conversations and stuff like that, our customers were telling us like hey, if you could solve this, site analysis, feasibility studies and things like that, that would actually save us so much of time
Mm,
because it's so much of mundane tasks to like to go tackle. And we listened and we pivoted. So in
okay.
2024, we were actually focusing on a software for code violations. In fact, like we worked on this ADA tool, which we, by the way, deployed it in Autodesk Marketplace. If you need an ADA need, go to Marketplace and the tool is available and you can download it. But this year in 2025, we pivoted and we have seen a good upward momentum with that particular tool.
Fantastic. So, leaving off with 2025, take us into, it's a new year. We're
Yes.
in 2026. There's probably some exciting things on the horizon, and you're mentioning pivoting. So tell us where Dota you are at today, and like where are you going in the next year or two?
Yeah. So, I think we are definitely going all in on this land analysis.
Mm-hmm.
People always want to ask things around what can I build here? How much can I build here? What is the zone density, land use, and all of those things? And most importantly, is this a financially feasible thing?
Yes.
And
Yes, very important.
those are the questions that is repeatedly coming up. We
Hmm.
conducted a lot more than 100 interviews right now. So
Well,
those are the questions that we are going after. We are trying to be as comprehensive as possible with respect to answering those questions. And as I mentioned, data fragmentation is a real problem. And
yes.
people spend about 120 hours gathering all of this data. And we also know that scalability is a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want to tackle like acres of lands, how are you going to gather all of this data? And we also know that the policies are not static, they are all constantly changing. For example, in the state of
Yes.
Washington, there is like rules all always changing. California is one of them, Colorado is another one. So there are rules constantly changing. How do you keep track of all of these, pending ordinances that are yet to be codified and all of that stuff?
Right.
And most importantly, insights are often missed. I'll give an example. Let's say you're looking at a plot of land in front of a water body and it's connected
Mm-hmm.
through highways. And let's say at some point there was an accident, oil spilled, the water got contaminated, the land is also contaminated. But sometimes, like, it may not be reported to the EPA thing. It may not even be visible. But then when the prospects actually look at those land, they need to consider all of these things, and
Mm-hmm.
eventually it might eat into their profit margin, right? So how do you drive these kind of deeper insights, which is not obviously given to you? Those are
Right.
all those are all interesting problems to go solve based on historical data, like, inferencing and connecting the dots between different data sets and stuff like that, right? So those are the problems we are going after.
Right now. Okay.
Yeah, in
Yeah.
2026 we are going all in on that one. And we are focusing across real estate asset classes, so the tool can be used
Okay.
for many many asset classes. And we are definitely going to go deeper on integrations and stuff like that, so you will soon hear from us on some good news. We are actively working on some integrations. We will actually come back with, like, information about all of those things.
Right.
Yeah, I think, yes, those are all the
Very
things that we are
exciting.
very exciting stuff. We have a very, very strong roadmap, Erin.
Awesome.
Couldn't be more excited about I mean, how much opportunity there is.
Yeah, and I want to key in on something that you mentioned, like through that whole discussion there, but you're listening, right, to what people are telling you that what they need in the industry and what's missing, which I just really love to see, especially from a technical provider's perspective, because it's often so hard a lot of times in the industry to say, hey, we're having this problem. It's like this. It's really specific. And a lot of times there are these other, tools, softwares, whatever, that are so ge either like too generic or they just don't get specific enough for what's really needed.
Hmm.
So I just really applaud that, tuning at 100 interviews, listening, like, hey, we pivoted, because it really, really does help like pinpoint the exact needs, which are, I mean, every industry has their own specifics, but even as you mentioned, like in with any situation here where you're going, it's as diverse as the geography as you're
Yeah.
gonna meet. So you're gonna have to change a little bit for every single little thing. So it's also one of the complexities and why we have so much like, disparate data that doesn't really talk to each other. And
Yes.
it seems like that core piece of like listening and then pivoting and like really specifically going after whatever it is that's needed for land acquisition or real estate support, right, is being developed. So I'm excited to see that mindset specifically. So that's fantastic. So I want to shift gears maybe a little bit here.
Hmm.
And I do see a few more people joining on the stream.
Hmm.
So please do know that you can use that chat or comment box. We actually got one comment here from Ajoy. So Ajoy, great to see you here. Thanks for joining. He says data silos is a big problem in this industry. We need to figure out how to systematically bring that data back together. So 100%, I think that's what you're touching on, Gayathri, and I know I've
Yeah.
seen that in my own work in the industry as well. So yes, anything that can help bridge that information gap to give us those insights, like you're saying, so that we can make much better decisions and be more effective.
Yeah, absolutely, Joy. Like the key thing is like, the interesting development in the technology world is that certain things are becoming easier to go
Yeah,
tackle
yeah,
as the technology underlying tool is actually evolving. So remember, one of the key pain points that I was talking about is around static data is not static, which
right.
is like, what rules and policies and other things that you saw 2 3 months before are changing. How do you keep track of all of those things? How can I, if I'm looking at a large commercial opportunity and that is going to take like, a couple of years or 18 months to complete, I need to
Right.
look at what is coming up so I can maximize the buildability of that land or things like that. Those are the things that is lot more easier with the existing technology. So I can, give you the data. I won't say real time, near real time is what I would say. I can get you all of that information as close to the time period as possible, so you can quickly, shift your learnings and apply it on that project.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Um, learning's applied on the project too. So that's one thing I'm like so passionate about because I've seen it just in my experience alone where you go to a project, a bunch of stuff happens, the team learns and it's all in their heads and the
Mm.
information doesn't go anywhere and we have a really hard time capturing like what's important to do or to track or whatever it is that will help things go smoother. So
Mm.
I really relate to that as well. So maybe let's go a little bit deeper as well. So like with having those data, those insights, and specifically with considering real estate, land acquisition, et cetera, what are some other specific ways that that data helps with that whole process?
When you talk about the data as in whole process, as in like, the different data
Like
space
land
that is happening.
acquisition, making a decision whether to go with a specific property or not, or specific type of development or not. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So there are various aspects that people are looking at, right? I mean, if you think about it, the entire goal of that project is to de-risk the purchase. That is the main aspect. Like, how can I save time, and time is money. So at the end of it, how can I de-risk this particular purchase? That is the essence of what we are trying to solve at a business
Hmm.
goal level. Now, all the data that we are collecting leads up to that one. And those risks could come in many forms, many shapes, exactly, right? What I mean by that is the infrastructure readily available in that land? It could be like, power, water, fiber kind of thing for the data center space, or it could be like, are the roads ready? Are the city lights like in place?
Yeah.
Things like that for like commercial or residential development and things like that. What are the environmental hazards? It's a big problem. Like, when we think about it, it's one of those unsexy things within the land development around dealing with environmental hazards. People usually like are, at least the customers that we spoke with are realizing that, the land is contaminated and they don't
Mm,
see the impact that it could have on their cost model because they have to dig
right.
up like, a few inches, clean it up, and that's all money. Like, that's another thing that could eat into their profit margin. So imagine I give you
And it's
certain
it's a really
satellite.
bad surprise, right? Like, oh, I thought this was going to be this way, and I didn't actually have all the information, and it's like really unsettling when you
Correct,
discover
exactly.
these
And you
things.
get
Yeah.
pleasant, you get surprised, and you are like,
Yeah.
God damn it, I did not think about it. Just
Yeah.
imagine, the power of data. I could give you some satellite images from 10 years or 20 years back and share certain information around, hey, there was a gas station here. I'm just making up some example.
Right,
Or,
right.
nearby, I identified some caverns or some mining centers or something like that, which would give you that insights on what is below the ground, and it will give you some insights on what I should go do in the detailed due diligence so that
Hmm.
I can de-risk. The power of what we are trying to do is a quick desktop and assessment. What
Hmm.
takes about 120 hours, we are trying to give the results in 10 minutes with all the information laid
Yeah.
out with references. So now you go still
Wow.
go take a look at all of these things and see whether this is something that you want to purchase, move forward, and not purchase, move forward on your due diligence, because you can actually go send somebody for detailed geotechnical surveys or things like
Right.
that, right?
Right.
So
Right.
those
Right.
are the
Right.
things that, the power of data that, you are actually talking about can help, these people that are in the decision making situations.
So a few things here, right? Like it's a ton of data, ton of information. The technology, the platform, right, is able, what was it, 120 hours down to 10? Did I get that right? Is
Yes.
that
Yes.
what? Yeah, wow. So I would be remiss if I didn't mention AI, right? It's Dota.ai.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about that. Obviously, there's been a ton of discussion and buzz in the industry with AI just in general.
Mhm.
But how does AI in the context of, these processes and the use cases we're talking about, how does that help? How does that help? Let's start with that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think like, the overall help that I can think about is the productivity increase.
Okay.
And a lot of the times the AI is also able to give you contextual information and stuff like that, which is very important for the problem that you
Hmm.
as an individual, the personalized thing, that you're trying to do. I mean, that productivity increase, now we are just talking not just about AEC in general, about AI, how is it actually helping every individual professionals or things like that, right?
Hmm.
So it's a productivity increase. And the way I look at it is AI is definitely a very powerful assistant. And I am also trying to like, incorporate all of these, help from various tools in my day-to-day job of,
Hmm.
making things faster. Because at the end of it, we want to be productive. We all want to do quality job, right? I
Yes.
mean,
Yeah.
do the right due diligence and stuff like that for the task that is in your hand. And we all want to go back to family to have dinner with, you know.
Right.
I think like, I mean, all of us are, working super hard. Like, there are few
Mhm.
moments in a day that we don't want to miss with family. And I personally believe like, that is a very important aspect of how I think about AI. Let me embrace AI in my day-to-day job and treat it like an assistant. Just physically imagine, you have an assistant who is doing all the research and leaving a pile of papers on your desk.
Hmm.
And instead of giving me a room full of papers, and then all I have to do is just look at those things, make my final inferences, say this is good, move forward, and
Right.
keep it going, right?
I
Productivity
really,
increase.
I just really love that visual that you painted for us there. So it's an assistant, right? It's working for us, it's supporting us, but we're still, managing what it's giving us, right? And we're not going
Yes.
to get overwhelmed by this mass amount of influx of information. It as a tool, and it is a tool for us, right? It's just synthesizing, the fo what our focus should be, I guess, in this context. And there are just a million other use cases, but I just had that clear picture. I'm like, th you communicated that so well, so thanks for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I guess specifically with like Dota, and with looking at the land acquisition real estate data,
Mhm.
is AI being used again, like to sift through that room full of papers and giving us just, the stack that we need, or how is that working out in the context of like real estate information?
I think that's a good question as well. So, what I would just let you think through in this, in the same context, right?
Right.
So, when you look at policy documents or data that is spread in different parts, you know, there are 1,000 pages of documents. What we are trying to do is, hey, for these questions, page number 117, 190, 670 are all relevant. Go look at it, and that is likely answering
Mm,
your questions, right?
okay.
And we also show, we actually give you the answers and we also give you the references. And same thing, like, we are looking at, like, a ton of resources. And all of it is actually brought into one place, including floodplains, wetlands, like
Hmm.
all of the data in a single place with some references as well. Now, I will
Great. Yeah.
actually give you devil's advocate kind of thing.
Yeah, I was
Okay, this
gonna.
is, if
Um,
yeah, listeners want to hear,
yeah,
okay, this is not like all hunky dory, right? Like,
I know. I'm
yes.
like, well, I was gonna ask you. Well, we know there's some risks here, and there's hallucinations, and AI does all sorts of
Yeah,
wonky stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Go into the devil's advocate side
Yes,
of it,
yes.
please.
So you brought up this good point around hallucinations as well. So I'll touch on that too.
Yeah.
So just go back to the thing. Okay, you're showing me all these 3 pages. I just gave some numbers, right? What about the page in 870 that you missed? Okay.
Mm,
Now that is, let's just take a concrete example, right? I'm building something over here, and according to the rules and regulations, instead of 50 units, I can actually do 75 units. That's great. But in that analysis, you did not tell me parking requirements.
mm,
Okay, fair enough. Like, can the system learn? Yes, because we have the ability to ask those questions and the system can answer. And over a period of time, the system will answer, oh, this person is actually looking for these things, and I have to give them the parking requirements as well. Okay, great. Where does that thing come? Because of your experience dealing with all of these things from the past. So I want the listeners to understand, AI is not going to replace humans anytime soon. The years of experience that you have gained your knowledge in is very critical. So now let's just go past the parking requirements. Now, great. The tool has learned enough that I can build 75 units instead of 50 units. I've looked at the parking requirements. Everything is looking good.
mm.
But what about this massive tree that is sitting in the middle of the plot? That is a critical thing that cannot be like cut off,
Right.
meaning like due to, like, a protection act and all of that stuff.
Preservation. Right. Right.
Or there could be a big pond and there could be some critical species that are in those pond that we cannot like close the pond or whatever it is, right? Those are the kind of things that humans still have to like look at based on the data that is given to them. Like I talked about satellite images and stuff like that. Like, given all of this data, like you still have to apply and see what are the things that you can infer. So sometimes AI will give you direct answers that you can go cross reference. Sometimes it will give you information that you infer yourself
Hmm.
to go derive that action. Sometimes it will just flag it. And again, you go and like verify whether it is accurate or not and things like that. So again, imagine the
Right.
physical example that I gave. Some assistant actually gave you a pile of papers for you to review. Just go do all your due diligence quickly and like, make a decision point. Now, the hallucination is
Due
a very
diligence.
important thing that you brought up. So, at least within Doda, we actually absolutely control our data sources.
Yeah, tell
We
us
don't,
more.
yeah, we don't actually go and like, do what the large language models are actually doing out there. There is a difference between what you can query out there in ChatGPT or Gemini versus what you can actually do in our tool. This is all again coming from various conversations that we have had, and like, us learning about the space, us trying to find out authentic data sources that we can stand behind, so customers are not sent in the wrong path. Often what we
Hmm.
do is, if we don't know the answer, we will simply say we don't know, as opposed to giving you some answer from the internet.
That is very transparent.
Yeah.
And as someone who's seen a lot of different solutions, I appreciate, being clear or having, the understanding at least like, okay, whatever information that this thing is looking at, it just can't find it. It doesn't know. So I need to bring my expertise to the table, dig a little bit deeper, see exactly
Yes.
what's going on. And we
Yes.
should be, doing our homework anyway with anything that it's telling us. But
Correct. Correct.
yeah,
That is given. You're absolutely
huge
right.
difference
That part
though.
is given.
Yeah.
And this is what we are trying. That way, you're not wasting your time on
Hmm.
looking at some wrong data, because I don't want you to feel that, like, okay, you know what? I was actually spending less time doing the work myself as opposed
Hmm.
to using this tool. Because remember the physical example, my job is to make sure that I distill as much as I can and give you, a set of data to go look at for you to make the final decision on the product or whatever purchase that you're trying to make. Right? Yeah.
Right, right. So yeah, we're getting into the discussion of, positives, benefits versus risks, what to watch out for with AI.
Hmm.
When it comes down to liability and risk, that's what we're talking about, right? It's a huge thing in the industry.
Hmm.
So how do we effectively manage that? And do you have any specific examples that could like highlight that for our audience?
So, with respect to, I think the question that we talked about, or the example that we discussed earlier, is actually a good example. For example, you are looking at a piece of land. The whole, the unit conversation that I was talking about, meaning the tree, the protected act, and all of that stuff, protecting
Yeah,
the tree. That is actually a good example of the liability thing as well. So treat AI like an assistant. Don't be
again,
scared
it's a
of
tool.
using it,
Hmm.
right? Use it, because if we don't disrupt ourselves, somebody else is going to disrupt us, and we want, to disrupt ourselves so that we can use it. But at the same time, like, at the end of it, we are the ones to make the final decision. So look at all of this data point, and that is where the essence of, our humans in the loop comes into the play. So
Yes.
humans are still in the
Human
loop.
in the loop. Yeah.
We cannot let, the machine take the final decision. And
Yeah.
so from that standpoint, AI is, again, I'm repeating it, AI is just an assistant. Like, we cannot let AI take liability for any of these things at the end of it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I want to just emphasize that too from my perspective as well. It's, a call to us in the industry to really make sure that we are up to speed on everything that we need to know to be able to intelligently work with these new types of tools, right? And it's also a call to update our skill sets. So, do we know how to effectively prompt or, get the information out of the system that we're looking for? Because if we're putting in, prompting wrong, we're probably not going to get
Mhm.
something that's as high quality as it could be out. So, oh, with this being said, and I was seeing a few more thumbs up earlier, so thank you guys for that. I also see a comment here. Dota delivers a lot of value, which is awesome. And then we just got a question, which is great. So, actually, pausing here, we're in the last 10 minutes or so of our discussion. I know the time really, really flies.
Yeah, I
So,
know.
if you have questions, comments, now is the time to drop those in. But we have a question here. Would be nice to see Dota.ai in action. Question for Gayatri. How much customization do you have to do to react to regional differences or policy changes. So it's
Oh,
the
great question.
customization. Yeah.
Great question. So, in our case, I have taken a lot of care working with my team to build the platform that is scalable within United States easily. So if you're in Southwest or Northeast or Southeast, whatever it is, our current platform scales.
Mhm.
Now, we have also figured out, like, if this platform could internationally scale in the future.
Mhm.
So, given the thought process that I have put in, yes, the platform can scale, but our current focus is only on United States. So, when it comes to customization, we don't customize anything for the region, but we allow certain customizations for our customers, and we will listen to them and then incorporate that thing into the tool, right? So I hope that answers your question, because I for the product that we are building, I'm taking a lot of care to build a very scalable solution. Of course, you can look at my background. That's all I did for 20 years in my life, like build scalable
You've got this
solution.
down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
get build technical solution that is scalable and, like, least human touch point from our standpoint, and the system just runs. That is what, like, I am trained to do. That's what is in my DNA. But at the same time, like, I am listening to customers. If they want any separate customization for their business need,
Hmm.
I am open, and I am actually working with a couple of customers on creating that level of customization for them that integrates the product into their ecosystem, their workflows, and all of that stuff to make it more valuable for them. Say, for example, we are creating this product. Let's say you are using certain tools within your ecosystem that your company provides.
Hmm.
Can this be integrated? Yes, it can be. We just need to work with you guys to understand it clearly, to make sure we are not building something generic, but we build something that is specific for you
Right.
guys. So we can do,
Right.
both of those things in parallel.
So what I get from that, and great response and question, really gets into the interesting part of this is that yes, like North America, which you've started with, right? We can't start, with the entire thing, otherwise it'll be overwhelming. But with where we're at today, North America customization is possible. You're looking at these specific cases and being able to, have the tool react to that.
Mhm.
I would encourage anybody who wants to go deeper or learn more, connect with Gayathri and her team, and they can definitely take you through, a little bit more on the platform than we're able to fit into the discussion today. But there's always more to come, and the background that you have is incredible with being able to have that vision of scalability and execute on it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the
Yeah.
see the roadmap. So in the last five-ish or so minutes here, what are some future trends? Like, what are you most excited for in the industry, and what should we keep an eye on?
You know, recently my friend shared the latest trend on humanoid robots.
Mm,
So there is a Chinese company called Unitary, which has released a video where these humanoids are doing martial arts.
okay.
I got
Oh no.
super nerdy about that one,
Yeah.
which is like, okay, there is a very strong technical technology that is going behind the scenes. That's good. But I'm looking at the use cases, like, we don't have to send our soldiers on the field.
Mm.
If these humanoid robots can actually be on the field,
Or
and it
like mining
avoids, like,
operations,
exactly,
uh,
right? So many things.
big
It avoids a lot of
yeah,
PTSDs and things like that.
yeah.
And yes, certain in some ways, the trend is also a little bit scarier because it's
Yeah.
coming too fast. You know, so
Yeah.
from autonomous cars to drones to these humanoid robots that could be, like, walking on the streets next
Mm.
to us. I just felt like it's like a sci-fi movie that in our times. we are going to see humanoid robots walking next to us in this world with us,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I'm thinking of, the little meal delivery robots that are already, rolling around and
Yeah, yeah.
what's stopping them from getting legs, I
I
guess.
know. That
Um,
is definitely one thing. And then, but then on the other side,
yeah.
clearly looking at the real estate aspect of things, few things
Yeah.
are got me quite interested as well.
Yeah.
See, the whole sustainability thing
Hmm.
is definitely a massive opportunity for us as human beings to create that, meaningful aspects.
Oh, yeah, take your time there. Yeah.
So what I mean by that is, when I look at like the NIMBYs and things like that, which is not in my backyard,
Right.
for like all the data centers or massive manufacturings and all of that stuff that comes up, we as humans can actually create a very sustainable environment while we encourage the modern trend to move forward with whatever it requires. Create a sustainable thing right next to it, same plot. I was listening to another talk by one of the very renowned person from ex Microsoft. It got me thinking quite very differently that,
Hmm.
as a product, Doda can help with that one in the future. And I wanted to actually create a product that is meaningful for our customers, meaningful for the environment, meaningful for, like, all the investors, stakeholders, everybody. We don't have to just please one set of group. We can actually create the world that we want. So yes,
Hmm.
humanoids is like, very exciting. Creating a very sustainable environment is also very exciting, and both of them has like massive opportunities.
Okay, so for me, from all that, I'm gonna keep an eye on,
Yeah.
where you guys are going because I think it's gonna be positive and exciting and impactful in a really good way. So
Yeah.
I'll stay
Thank
tuned
you.
into that.
Thank you.
So last couple questions here, just really quick. And then also note to the audience, if you have, or if anybody's tuning into the recording after, if you do leave a comment, either on the LinkedIn page or anywhere else, we'll see it and be able to get back to you even after this. So please feel free to leave those. And then let's see. So super quick, any recommended hikes or what's your favorite one? And then how can our audience contact you? It's the best way to get in touch.
Yeah, great. So, with respect to hiking, come to Seattle. It's a beautiful place.
Okay.
Do not get worried about the rain. Like,
Uh-huh. That was my first thought, but
yeah. So there is so many in the I-90 corridor here. Like, those are all the training grounds for many of the hikers. A beautiful place. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's one thing. Then with respect to reaching out to me, please feel free to reach out to me at g3@doda.ai. That's my email address. Or you can go to www.doda.ai, and you can actually, contact us from that on also. All of those emails come to me, and to some of my team members as well, so we will definitely respond back to you. And try out the product. Like, there is a free trial that we have. Just log in and register yourself there, and I will get in touch with you guys
Hmm.
personally and give you a demo if required. Otherwise, the tool is also pretty self-explanatory, but I still would like to, like, touch base with you guys to show
Yeah.
and talk to you about your needs and all of that stuff.
Good
So,
listener. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Absolutely fantastic. We have a last comment saying fab conversation. I think so as well. Thank you so much, Gayatri, for sharing your time, your background expertise, your passion, the vision as well that you have going forward. So I'm really looking forward to what's to come. So thank you, and
You.
thank
Thank you, Erin. Thank you
thank
all the
our
listeners
audience.
for tuning in on
Yeah.
on Thursday at 9 o'clock. Yeah. I hope to stay in touch with you guys. Yeah.
Fantastic. All righty. Take care.
Bye.
Okay. Broadcast is done. Stop
Excellent.
the recording.